Welcome to Hot Mess and Hot Glue. My name is Lynn. Let's have some fun. In today's video, we've got watermelon themed DIYs. The first one here is this cute little tray. Now I got the tray gifted, and so I didn't actually have to pay for it. And what I did was I found a couple different size objects lying around the house to make these two half circle rounds. I wanted them to be one larger than the other. I could not find my painter's tape, and so I'm just using some good old Scotch tape. Now I will say it's the Scotch brand Scotch tape. It's not the Dollar Tree one. Dollar Tree one probably would have been fine. I just didn't trust how sticky it would be. My first step here is to just paint the outer rim of the watermelon. At first I thought I wanted to blend all the colors from green to white to red. In the end though, I decided that I wasn't going to do that. It just kind of didn't go with the overall aesthetic of the tray. So I went back in, and you'll see down the road I just kind of defined the colors. So you see the original kind of attempt at blending the green and the white. The red here, I use all Waverly chalk paint. The green was in, I believe, Fern, and then there's the white, and then this one is lacquer, and it took several coats to cover the wood grain, but I really wasn't worried about that too much. I really liked kind of the design of the wood that's showing through, so I didn't mind if it wasn't completely covered. It was a pretty tray to begin with. So we have one half here that we've done in the watermelon colors and shape. The other half here I'm going to do a really thick full coverage coat of white Waverly chalk paint. Once that's completely covered, I then remove the first strip of tape because I want that not to stick. I used the Scotch tape here as the spacers to make the lines for this next step. However, oh my gosh, it's like impossible to see the tape. So when I did pull back the tape, some of it took some of the paint off, and it was okay. It was an easy fix. You could just go in and touch it up with some paint. The end result of this, I want to say this one is my favorite. I really like this. I loved the contrast between the watermelon and the stripes. Again, this is the Fruity Summer Picnic collab. This is hosted by Savannah over at Savvy Crafts with Savannah and the Crafty Quinn. Her name is Megan. Please go check them out, you guys. They're insanely talented. Savannah's been a friend of mine since I first started my YouTube channel, and getting to know Megan through this challenge has been really fun. Onto the crafting. We've got this Easter gnome that I got for 50 cents. If you can see, like, his beard was like kind of banged up or whatever, so I told the lady, I talked her down from the whole $1 to 2/4. But because it's Easter, I wanted to remove the ears from this little guy, and just using my utility knife, I just scored it several times and it broke off pretty easily. Once those were separated though, you could see the really jagged and rough edges, so just using my finger sander, I just went through and smoothed those edges out so that it had a nice uniform non-DIY look to it. Now I'm using the back portion of this guy because that paper wasn't coming off very well, and I'm just looking at it and using it as a guide to kind of sketch in the little details as far as his hat, where his nose goes, and where his hands are, and his little feet. Originally, I had thought that I was going to just draw his hands in. I do not draw at all, so this was just, I knew from the just right off the bat this wasn't going to work. I had this cute little watermelon cutout, and it was part of a wall hanging piece that you see here, and it's got all these little fruits on it. So I just detached that from its string, and now again we're using the back portion of this because my plan here is to have him holding this little watermelon. At first I thought I would just paint the watermelon on, but I really liked how the gnome in the Easter portion had that 3D effect. So I cut off the sides where it'll connect to his little hands to make it just fit a little bit better. Now that we've got the details drawn on, we want to color them in basically, and we're just painting over all those details. At first here you kind of get a little bit of the Christmas vibe, but once we go through and finish it, you'll see it's a little less Christmas gnome than it starts to look like. using the hands that it came with, I just cut them out of the part where it was holding the eggs. I just took those and I scored it with my utility knife and I cut them, and then I just took some really sharp scissors and I just kind of cut around the hands, and then I used my like an emery board and I sanded in between the fingers to get the detail. I liked the coloring that it came with. It had this natural neutral skin tone to it, but then it also had this really nice shading. So I wanted to make sure I didn't lose that detail when I painted it. So I just mixed up a couple, it was some kind of brown and a little bit of, I want to say plaster color. And I felt like that mimicked the color that it came with while also enhancing it and making it stand out a little bit more. So I did that to the nose, and then I did that exact same step to the hands. Once I got the first layer on, I didn't wait for the lighter color to dry. I then just went straight through with the darker color, and then I just kind of blended them as if I were coloring almost. Got to make sure he has his shoes on, so we're just doing your typical black shoe here. Next, I wanted to detail the hat a little bit. So I'm drawing in with my pencil just the shape of almost like teardrops, but they're going to be pumpkin seeds. Watermelon seeds. So here on this little watermelon, I did the exact same painting technique on this little guy as I did the tray, so I didn't make you guys have to sit here and watch that. Now, using a black paint marker that I get from Walmart, this has a fine tip on it. I love these markers. I mean, it really is just like coloring, so it's really fun for those detailed work. I'm not a steady hand, so I don't typically like to use a paintbrush. So on both the watermelon and the hat, I'm just going to color in these seeds. And then now that the black is dry, I just wanted to kind of make them enhanced just a little bit, add a little bit of character to them. So on the shoes and on all the seeds, I just kind of add a little white marker highlight. Now, I couldn't find my white paint marker, but I'm using the white metallic marker from the Dollar Tree, and it actually did a really good job. Now we're going to go ahead and attach his nose. I just used a ton of hot glue, and as always, I use the Gorilla Glue hot glue, and that stuff ain't going nowhere. I know that it is on there for the long haul. I'll be able to pack this little fella up and bring him out next summer as well. I was going through my stencils and I wanted to add some kind of character to the green portion of his hat. And when I found this hot air balloon stencil that came in a pack from the Dollar Tree, the outlines, the lines that you see me tracing here, they were kind of reminiscent of the rind of a watermelon. And so I really wanted to use that. I thought that would be a really fun detail. So I'm just sketching it in with pencil. I do not know what happened to the footage. Maybe I never hit record, but it does not show me actually painting the rind itself. And that was really fun. I went through with an Arteza oil-based paint marker, and it was in the color spring green, and it was really bright. Then to add a little bit of color dimension, I just grabbed a permanent marker, and it had a brush tip on it. So I just went through and added that dimension. With this sign from the Dollar Tree, I can't wait to do part 2 with the geode part that I took off. But for this one, I really just wanted to use the stand. I didn't want another hanging piece. I wanted something to put on our shelves. So I'm just reinforcing it, giving it a really good layer of hot glue. And then as that's settling in, I just wanted to, again, reinforce it, make sure it was nice and secure. So if it did get knocked over, it wouldn't just completely shatter and fall apart. The base is black, however, it was a little light and a little dingy, so I wanted to just bring it back to life. And at the same time, I'm just painting the back. Because of all that dimension, it was too hard to cut out craft paper. I felt like I wasn't gonna do it right, so it was easier just to paint it black. Look at this little guy. He's so cute. He really took me a while just because of the painting, but I love how he turned out. On to the next one, we're going to make this cute, sweet summer sign. If you are new here, I wanted to say welcome, welcome. If you are returning, I really want to make sure you guys know how much I appreciate you and the time that you take to click on my video and spend that time with me, leaving the comments and letting me know what's going on. Chit-chatting with you guys is one of my favorite things to do. So this little piece of paper, it was part of like a garland or something that also came from the Dollar Tree. So it came with a pink color, and I just flipped it over and I added the same color red, and I highlighted the green rind and things like that. Now the picture that I'm using in the background here, it was a discounted clearance item from Hobby Lobby, and all I had to do was, I think I enhanced the red. The red I think was originally kind of like a pink color, but once I basically colored in the watermelon and then I used some Mod Podge to attach it, it went on really easily. The next project we have here is this cute little home sweet home sign. I've got some Hobby Lobby scrapbooking paper that I cut down to fit inside there. Now you'll see that tan color on the heart. That's actually wood filler because it was an indented cutout. I got this at Hobby Lobby. It was originally for $4.99, but I got it 90% off. So could not walk away from that deal, and it's completely customizable. I can also flip it over, add some popsicle sticks to recreate the trim of the house, and you've got a double-sided decor. Using my Cricut Joy, I went into Design Space and I found this cute little just home sweet home that I wrote out, and we used the watermelon, but it kind of looks like a mouth, but either way. Now this guy here, this guy was fun. So using a sign from the Dollar Tree, at first I thought I wanted to remove that galvanized sign, but then I kind of thought to myself, well, I bet acetone will take it off. So I rubbed it with acetone, and as you can see, the marker, or the writing kind of bled onto the wood. So just using my finger sander, I just kind of went through and cleaned it up, and that actually did a really good job with it. At this point, I still didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with it, but I liked the kind of watermelon shape that it was coming with. So giving it a really good coat, make sure that it's completely covered. Once that was dry, I took this really thin black tape that I got off of Amazon, and it's just like it's just a little detailed tape. And so measuring it out, which I hardly ever do is measure, but I really wanted these lines to be quite uniform. So measuring it out, I just marked them where I thought that the little stripes would look good, and then I just go through just like tape and I attach the little stripes, and then I just trim them down. When I bought these on Amazon, I got, I want to say 4 or 5 of these little rolls, and it comes with a ton of tape. So I'm excited to really venture out and kind of add this little detail to some more projects in the future. Again, we're just trimming it up, making sure all the excess is removed, both on the bottom, but then also on the top here. I got these little detailed scissors, and they did a pretty good job at going through, but I think ultimately I went through with a, my utility knife, and kind of trimmed it up just a little bit more. Originally, I thought I was going to put that watermelon face down. Using my Cricut Joy, I just wrote out, "Y'all gonna make me lose my rind." I thought it was just kind of cheeky, a little cute, little pun on the whole watermelon theme, but I really like this sign. This one I thought was really cute. Next is this little welcome sign. Again, using a small little sign from the Dollar Tree, I just kind of disassembled it and took it apart. Now, I really liked this thankful word. It's kind of a thin, little bit more fragile wood. So if you're not careful and you try to pop it off, it's going to completely break into pieces. So I just snuck my utility knife under there and I just separated it from the back because I'm a hoarder and I see that as a second project. So we set that aside for later. After flipping it over, we painted it the same lacquer red, and then using some stickers that I got at Walmart forever ago. I liked their font and just everything about it was just a little bit more modern. And then using my ruler here, it was just a trick that I've seen on some of my friends here on YouTube that use, and it really helped line up those letters. Obviously, we're going to go cliche with this. We're not going to keep the O in welcome. We're going to go ahead and snazzy that up just a smidge. And I'm going to take just a picture that I printed off of the internet. I just Googled free printable images of a watermelon. I found this cute one that I liked. I resized it on my computer, I printed it out, and then going back and using my carbon paper, I'm really just transferring this image over. I didn't want it to have any color because the letters themselves don't have any color, so I knew I was just gonna outline this in a black paint marker. And I tried to use the way that the watermelon in the printout was a little bit more thick. So I go through, I do the initial paint over to get the lining, and then I just go in and kind of thicken up the rind portion of the watermelon itself. This is so incredibly easy. You don't need anything fancy to do this. Some stickers, some paint, and even if you don't have a paint marker, I've used a black Sharpie marker in the past, and as long as you make sure it's completely dry, then you can Mod Podge over it and it's sealed and you would not know the difference. Once the Mod Podge was dry, I went ahead and just reassembled this cute little sign. I did want to make sure I took off that hanger portion, just in case. I don't know if I'm going to use it down the road, but I took it off because we're not using it now. So here it is, just on a cute little box that I have, just kind of showing you different ways of styling it. It's a simple sign, but there's something about the simplicity of it that I just really enjoy. Next, we're going to do these kind of candle holders and slash decorative tchotchke pieces. Now these are cement looking. They're not cement themselves. I've done a previous video where I did the round version. I took two round kind of decorative, I want to say candle holders or something, and I turned them into a lantern. But on this one, I just really wanted to take advantage of the shape of it, and I wanted to make a couple individual watermelons. Now, just using the same green and white and red that I used throughout all the watermelon decorating, I just went in, I tried to blend it a little bit on this one just because I wasn't sure I really wanted those harsh lines on this. And I ended up liking it and then keeping it that way. I used a little bit of alcohol to get a clean paintbrush wet, and that really kind of helped smear and saturate the paint into the material that this is made of. What I liked about these pieces is, like I mentioned, they're very, very versatile in their decorative abilities. I put a candle in them to make them look like, you know, little votive holders, and then I also just kind of displayed them as little watermelon pieces on a tiered tray, and just thought that they were really cute and really fun, and they're pretty heavy, so I mean they're not gonna fall over very easily. Once I got all the colors on and let them dry and got them all blended, I went back through and did the exact same technique to add the seeds as I did on all the other projects. I just used my paint marker, I drew on the little teardrop shape, and then left it at that. These came out, I think, just adorable. This is them with just their little candles, and then here they are in a tiered tray also displayed. I like them both ways. I think you could use one as a candle holder, one as a little, you know, display piece. This next project, again, don't know what happened to all the details. All I did was spray paint a piece of wood that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I put on some decals. I thought it was a little fun, a little cheeky. I don't know if you can call this a project with this like candle holder slash votive holder. I wanted to throw in a little bit of cuteness for your midweek just to get you through. So my little guy Bennett. You guys, thanks again for watching. I really do appreciate it. Joining me today just really warms my heart. if you've made it to the very end, what I've been doing is I've been asking my viewers to drop a really fun little emoji down in the comments. Today's emoji will be a watermelon. Once I can get to 1,000 subscribers, I'll be doing a really fun giveaway that you're not going to want to miss out on. These emoji entries, they give you an entry, your name, into a bucket for every single time you comment on a video. At the end, once I get to that 1,000 subscribers, my plan is to just crumble up all the little papers, toss them in the air, and I'm gonna let that cute little Bennett that you just saw pick up one random piece of paper, and that will be our grand prize winner. So please make sure you're doing the comments. I'd love it if you would hit that like button. I would love it even more if you'd consider subscribing. This really helps my channel grow, and I appreciate you guys so tremendously. Until next time, have a great day.